I'd like now to turn to my other colleague, Mrs. Rhonda Wood-Smith, to talk to us a little more about the reasons underpinning these standards. Rhonda.
Thank you, David, and good evening. Lou, a number of factors contribute to the widespread underperformance observed in our schools. The most significant of these is the quality of teaching and learning. Of the lessons observed by the review team, 1 lesson in 4 was deemed to be inadequate, and few are outstanding. Little of the class teaching observed was geared to the needs of individual learners. Much teaching was typified by low expectations and limited pedagogic skill. This reflects adversely on school leadership. It also has implications for the initial training, selection, professional development, and performance management of teachers. Some of the criteria that the team used to judge effective teaching included high pupil engagement and interest, high expectations by the teacher, differentiation, effective dialogue and questioning, and high teacher competence and commitment. Looking now at the slide which describes or looks at the quality of the 100 lessons observed, only 6 were deemed by our team to be outstanding, 32 good, 39 satisfactory, and 23 inadequate. And as alluded to previously by David, we should not be satisfied with satisfactory or inadequate. Some of the features which identified inadequate lessons included observations in which crayoning and cutting out of photocopied pictures to make a history timeline on a predetermined template. And another lesson we observed, social studies class, considering early Bermudian visitors into which board students drifted in and out and copied information from the board in poor handwriting into unmarked exercise books. In summary, on the evidence of our sampling, the majority of lessons that take place in Bermuda schools are not good lessons. The key to raising standards lies in the quality of teaching, and it is a prime task of school leaders to assure this quality. Inadequate lessons could and should be virtually eliminated by principals and their deputies through keeping more closely in touch with the quality of day-to-day learning in their classrooms. The conversion of all inadequate lessons to satisfactory, most satisfactory lessons to good, and many good lessons to outstanding would undoubtedly provide a significant boost for the standards achieved by our students. Turning now to the quality of school leadership. The quality of leadership was good or better in half of our primary schools, 2 of the middle schools, and 1 senior school. School principals are generally efficient in administering their schools. They are less effective in assuring the quality of teaching and learning. They do not manage performance. Principals need to spend more time in classes, evaluating the quality of education and the extent to which all students are learning. There is a culture of low expectations and lackluster teaching that only principals can address. The curriculum is inconsistent between schools, and as Lou referred to earlier, pupils slip back on school transfer. The curriculum is insufficiently clear, coherent, or demanding to contribute much to the raising of achievement. Insufficient training for staff, particularly in interpreting the standards, needs to be worked on. There does not appear to be encouragement for innovation. Equality, inclusion, and special educational needs. Most children having special educational needs are included in the mainstream schools. Learning support arrangements are poorly conceived and exclusive. Good specialist provision for children with profound or multiple disabilities was observed. However, there must be more specialist provision needed for emotionally disturbed children with serious behavior difficulties in the primary age range. Strategic and operational leadership. There's a lack of leadership quality, assurance, and accountability at all levels. The ministry lacks strategic vision since the demise of the Bermuda Education Strategic Team. The Board of Education is powerless. There is little accountability. There are poor standards of service. In essence, the review team determined that there needs to be a radical overhaul, and first-rate leadership and management must typify our ministry. David?
Rhonda, thank you very much. And I think you will agree with me that the picture painted by Lou and Rhonda is in fact a fairly bleak one. But there is one redeeming feature, and it is that in our judgment there is a great potential and a strong willingness to improve amongst the educators and school leaders on this island. And this was very important to us, this insight, when we began to frame our recommendations, because we could have actually framed them in a number of different ways. We could have pointed to a restructuring option. It is now obvious that the move to middle schools in 1997 was a bad move, but now to just return to the old system would destabilize the system and take attention away from the quality of teaching and learning, which is so important. We could have also advocated some marketplace solutions, the privatization of the public school system or the introduction of vouchers. But in our opinion, that would have led to increased social inequity. So rather, we have focused on a reprofessionalization reform program, because we believe that this can provide the maximum good within the shortest space of time and with the least disruption to the educational system. But it is complex. There are 10 interrelated recommendations, the first 6 of which we believe need to be implemented almost immediately in order to bring outcomes during the school year 2007-2008. But we do believe that with strong leadership, they could actually produce a rapid rise in the standards of Bermudian education. The first recommendation is to dramatically improve the quality of teaching. Schools need to ensure that every lesson counts, and they will do this by instituting quality assurance of teaching and learning led by the principal, and also the appointment of excellent or advanced skills teachers to help spread good practice across the island. Recommendation 2 is to improve the quality of leadership by principals. The quality of principal leadership is absolutely pivotal to the successful implementation of these proposals. And we believe that the introduction of performance management, the appointment of consultant leaders to mentor and support our current cadre of principals, and the development of high-quality training opportunities will actually help produce the type of quality of leadership that's required in our schools. The third recommendation is to reform the Ministry of Education itself. We believe that there is an immediate need for change of senior personnel and a need to reconfigure the ministry in order to develop a culture that focuses on the schools as clients. The fourth recommendation is to strengthen the strategic management of the education system by appointing an interim executive board to implement the recommendations of this report and to act for the government in reforming the ministry. The fifth recommendation is to introduce delegation and transparent accountability at all levels. We believe that school autonomy needs to be enhanced. We believe that rigorous standards and testing needs to be introduced at P3, P6, M3, 6.2 and S4. And we also believe that targets need to be set for student performance at all of these levels. Recommendation 6 is to raise the